Welcome to Fairfax and Favour's Quick Fire Questions. Now, today's guest is a Young Rider Gold medalist. She is a 5-star rider. It is none other than Felicity Collins. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is your favourite meal?
I like a good steak and chips. Can't go wrong.
You and me both. What Fairfax and Favour item is your go-to when you go out for dinner?
I love the Rockingham ankle boot in taupe. I think it's really stylish and it's quite different as well.
What is your party trick?
Well, not sure if it is a party trick, but I'm quite good at the cereal packet challenge, which is a party game. So I like to encourage that game to come out at parties so that I can try and win.
We all want to go to a party you're at now. Which bee is your favourite? Bags, boots or belts?
Boots.
Felicity Collins, thank you so much for playing along with Fairfax and Favour's Quickfire Questions.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing podcast and listeners. It is Bookelo week. That means that there is another preview show coming your way. And I am delighted to say my partner in crime for the show, we are taking time out from the working day, none other than the lovely Rosie Russell. Rosie, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's a bit of a strange one in the sense we've just been through that whirlwind of September and I thought, October, that'll be quiet. And then you look at the diary and I'm like, no, we've got loads more going on. It's still really exciting.
We've got Bookelo, we've got Maryland, we've got Poe, Leon. Listeners, it just keeps going. But it does feel, you are right, it feels like we've had a quieter couple of weeks after what was a completely bonkers 3 or 4 weeks with Burley, Cornbury, Blenheim, Protoni, the lot. It was just absolutely nuts. But Bookelo is always one of those really, really exciting competitions on the calendar. It has thrown up some brilliant winners in the past. We've seen the likes of Laura Collett's London 52 take the top spot. Samurai Duteau and Julia Krajewski are former winners, actually, of this class. You have had Andrew Nicholson, Kimbo. And Andrew Nicholson and Kimbo actually went on to win Kentucky the following spring as well, the year after they won here. So look, you get some brilliant names on the lineup, and it's always exciting to see some of those sort of future stars. There's actually a few more established horses in the field this year, which I think will really kind of throw it open to, few new combinations, that we could well have seen at a championships that we didn't. So I'm looking forward to it. A record finishing score for you listeners. Rosie, do you want a pop quiz? Obviously, we've mentioned a few names in there in so much as Laura Collett, London 52, Samurai Toe, Julia Krajewski, etc. What do you reckon the best finishing score is?
Oh, with those types of names, it's got to be in the low 20s. This is a real stab at the dark. We're going to go 24.1.
Not a million miles away, 22.6.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So that is quite fun. And I would say as well, of the last 13 winners, only 2 have rolled a pole in the show jumping. Everybody else has jumped clear. So a clear on the final day. It is normally a tough enough show jumping track in Bookelo, but a clear on the final day is really, really important. So we'll be looking out for that when we go through some of our selections. And I think we just dive on in because it's a big old field, listeners, and we're not going to go crazy in depth with all of the kind of every single combination because there's lots of them. It is a very, very strong field. I think there's 78 or so in total at the time that we're recording this. It is the final Nations Cup of the year as well, which means that we've got a really strong American contingent making the trip over. But we've got some very, very strong teams in the lineup. And I have to admit, there feels like we're going to see a couple of horses that really are going to make their mark at the very top level of the sport over the next few years. So we've obviously had the World Championships, we've had Blenheim as well over the last few weeks. And I feel like there could well be a few horses in this field that we get to talk about in more detail going into the Europeans next summer. And then, of course, Paris 2024. Rosie, so I'm gonna give you the floor, okay? Which I'm just going to say, take your pick. Who would you like to talk about first?
Oh, like you say, it's really hard. There's so many good combinations. I think to start with, I'm actually going to start with an Italian, a man that I talk about a lot.
I know who you're going to pick, Rosie Russell.
I love him, Giovanni Ugolotti and Swirly Temptress. I think that they stand a really good chance. Love this combination. Their show jumping is ever improving. They won in Ballindenisk this year in the 4-star long there. They finished on their dressage score of 27.2. Like I say, jumping's getting better. Cross country, they got an immaculate cross country record. Just one problem at the start of their career. And the dressage score is low enough. They can get down to about 26-ish. So the late 20s, maybe mid 20s on a good day. So no, I think they're definitely ones to watch.
Do you know what? I would love this horse to come through for Joe, because actually she's a mare that he's always thought a massive amount of, and her show jumping has never been the most straightforward. And they've worked really, really hard at it. So it would be lovely to see it pay off. She's beautiful. If you're in Boekelo or you're watching any of the coverage, have a look at her, because Swirly Temptress is just absolutely stunning. I mean, obviously, if you're tuning in, then you can look at Giovanni Ugolotti as well in his uniform, but she is just a really, really smart horse. So yeah, I think that's a very, very good shout, actually. I really hope that they'll be in the mix. I would be, for me, all eyes on their show jumping on the final day would be my big question. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it, and they're obviously winners at the level already. Okay, well, I'm gonna stick with the Brits to start things off, because actually the Brits have a really, really strong contingent of horses and riders going over. There's a whole host of them that actually you could pick from, and I'm only going to go through a couple now. But you've got the likes of Kirsty Chabert, who has Opposition Aphrodite and Opposition Heraldic Girl. Kirsty, who's been on brilliant form this year and was the travelling reserve to the airport for the British team for Pretonia with Classic, who I imagine will be going to Po in a few weeks' time. You've got Izzy Taylor with a couple of rides, Zara Tyndall class affair. Their season has been very much up and down. They rerouted from Burley to Blenheim, but then, of course, with everything that happened, they withdrew from Blenheim and rerouted to Boekelo. So their season has been a bit all over the place. But I'm looking forward to seeing them. However, I'm going to go straight in with a horse that I'm really excited to see at the level for the very first time. And that is one who has shown so much promise coming up the grades. Is a lot DHI, Ros Counter, who have won both the 4-star shorts at Bramham International a little bit earlier on this year, and then again at the Hamburg Sport Horses Bergam International, where they were as low as 20.5 in the dressage. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them. 4-star long debut for the horse. He's a horse that won the 3-star at Blair last year. He's really, really impressed. He won Houghton Hall at 3-star level last spring as well. One that they think a massive amount of. This could well be a horse. You know, we've just seen her with Lordship's Graffalo go so brilliantly at the World Championships, but this is the horse that actually is really going to be chasing his stablemate as we head into championships for the next couple of years. So I'm very much excited for their debut. The one thing I would say, he's only a 9-year-old, but he went to Little Downham for his final prep run for Boekelo, and dressage was uncharacteristically, I say poor. I mean, poor is all relative, isn't it? He scored a 33.1, but from a horse that 2 runs prior to that had scored a 20.5 is, you know, that's almost 12, 13 marks more. And he had 20 penalties cross country. I didn't see what happened, so I can't comment on it, but didn't have the greatest dress rehearsal. I'm going to say the actual competition itself is going to go flying. Ros Canter is my first pick.
That's a very good shout. And you've always got to have a bad dress rehearsal before it goes really, really well.
Well, I mean, I think that's just what you tell yourself. It's just a way of making yourself feel better. If it doesn't go well, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's all fine. It's all absolutely fine. You're not going to complain if it does go well. So, yeah, Ros Counter is a lot DHI, the one that I'm going to throw into the mix first off. Would you like to talk about any of the other Brits, Rosie, or should I rattle through a couple? Because there's a really, really strong British contingent here.
It's really strong. There's just a few I think I just want to mention. Izzy Taylor's Caroline Air KM. She went to Blenheim, and I know she didn't get the test that she wanted at Blenheim, a 39.3, but keep an eye on her, because my God, when it went well, she was beautiful. Only 9 years old, and only started her international career back in 2020s, but it's seriously talented. So just keep your eye on her, because when it goes well, it's stunning. I think she's just, you know, soaking up the atmosphere and learning. But the other one,
I think Blenheim. Sorry, Rose. I think Blenheim 8 and 9-year-olds. When she was an 8-year-old, she had problems cross country, but actually she would have been well in contention after the first 2 phases. She went out on the cross country.
yeah, she had a 31.9. Sorry, then. But yeah, unfortunately had problems cross country. But I really like the horse for the future.
Okay, all righty. Izzy Taylor, good shout. She's got 2 rides, hasn't she?
Yep, she's also got Graf Cavalier. So no, she's got 2 very strong rides. I also am so happy to see JL Dublin back out, and he's with Tom McEwen.
Isn't it? It feels like such a. It is so bittersweet, isn't it? Because you so wish, obviously, that Nicola Wilson was riding him and being able to campaign him, but actually, Tom will do an amazing job and no better substitute, and kind of really looking forward to seeing what actually might be in store for them in the future, because the horse is obviously exceptional. Tom is exceptional as well, has been beautifully produced by Nicola, and they won the Open Intermediate at Cornbury, and I saw them there and they finished on their dressage score of 24.1. It was a very hot Open Intermediate section, but I mean, they just looked class, absolutely class. And I am just going to do a big old shout out, actually, because our favourite knee sweep, Tom McEwen, ran the London Marathon in sub 3 hours 30 minutes at the weekend.
Nuts.
So Tom McEwen, round of applause, very, very impressive. And it was all in aid of Alzheimer's research. So if you would like to support him in his efforts, then go and donate, because an amazing, amazing job. I dare you, Rosie, on the next decorating school to ask Sam how long it took him to run the marathon when he ran one. Is it last year or the year before?
Yeah, last year in Barcelona. God.
Dare you.
I don't know if he'd appreciate that. I mean, anybody running a marathon is a serious achievement, because I sit there and watch it and you think to yourself, I might be able to do this. And then the reality is you put your trainers on and run a kilometre and think you're going to die.
Well, put it this way, Rosie, you put your trainers on and run a kilometre, which I would say is the first step. I just look at it and think, nah, never going to happen. So at least you're trying. No, okay. So Tom McEwen and JL Dublin got to be in with a serious chance this weekend. And I think that's very exciting as to where we might see them potentially at 5-star next year. So very much looking forward to that one. The other one in the field, actually, that is a winner at the level is Laura Collett's De Capo. Laura has 2 rides. Bling, who she is a mare that is stepping up to the level for the first time at 4-star long, and Laura thinks a massive amount of for the future, definite 5-star credentials in Laura's mind for her. But De Capo, who actually went unbelievably well at Mill Street a little bit earlier on this year, and he's an Archon runner-up. And I think it's quite interesting that Laura's made the decision actually to take him to Boekelo for the 4-star long format rather than aim to go back to Po later on in the year. So I'm pretty certain she'll be looking to take another win that she won here back in, I don't know what year it was that she won here. She's been first and second, actually, because
2019, I think she won.
Yeah, with London 52. It was after they'd been to the Europeans that year. Interestingly, she also, I think the year that she was second with London 52 might have been 2018. And that was, I'm pretty certain, on almost the same score as Samurai Duto. No, I tell a complete lie. Wasn't on the same score as Samurai Duto at all. But is still the second best finishing score we've seen at Bookelo. So definitely, I think it's a strategic decision. She's going to Bookelo for a very good reason, and it's to win, basically, rather than take him to Po later on in the year. Okay, so the Brits are very strong. Sarah Bullimore has 2 in really nice young horses, Savita AP, Irish Trump, William Foxpit, Moonlight Charmer. The world champion, actually, Yaz Ingham, is in here with Rihi DJ. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing them, because he's a horse that has massive experience at the 4-star long level now. And I think, again, Yaz will be looking to be very competitive. So that's brilliant for her. Imogen Murray has Rowan Ruby, who's a really smart horse. And Bella Innes Carr, Highway, is the most lovely grey. If you get the opportunity to go to Bookelo, as I say, or see him on the live stream, he is just absolutely stunning. And I had a bit of time on the sidelines, and it's lovely to see Bella, who's a a former Blenheim winner back with horses at this level as well. So looking forward to that. Anyway, I'm sorry, Rosie, I've just got on a bit of a roll. So who else would you like to mention as we head into the other nations?
DHI No Fear for Ireland, ridden by Claire Abbott, is one I really, really like. They were actually the national champions in the 120 class this year over in Ireland.
Oh, we did the Red Mill special of the Eventing Ireland Championships, and Sam, I'm sure, picked this horse as his one for the future for Team Ireland.
Yeah, I think he could be spot on there because they've got a very good international record. Didn't start internationally until 2019, but they were fourth in Mallow 4-star this year. They've also been second in Ballindennis as part of the Nations Cup. Their dressage score, I would say, late 20s, early 30s. Don't quite know if it's low enough to be like winning, but they are mega jumpers. Seriously, seriously good jumpers. So I think that would definitely put them in good stead. Definitely think they're ones to watch for Team Ireland.
Okay, that's very good. I have got another young gun. Mine is going to be the rider, though, as so much as Heloise Le Guen, who is the Bramham under 25 winner for France, actually. Canacan de Soudrezy is her ride, and actually it was a horse that was originally produced by Cedric Liard, but she's had the ride for a little while now and went very, very well to take the top spot at Bramham. So, I mean, a Bramham victory is pretty impressive. They finished on their dressage score of 31.9, and actually not many people finished on their dressage score across the two 4-star long competitions, but they were one of them. So I'm going to say them for France as ones to keep an eye on. I think France have actually got a pretty strong hand here. They've won it a couple of times in the past. The likes of Thomas Carlyle have taken the top spot here, and I think they've got another very, very good chance in a combination I know you want to talk about, Rosie. You stole them. I say you stole them. You didn't. You said them first. And I was like, actually, that's a really good shout.
Yeah, Maxime Louvier comes here with Appy du Libert. And I think, like you say, really, really strong contenders. They've done 2 Nations Cups already this year, one out in Pretoni and one at Heradapan. 9th and 15th there. They can get proper low in the dressage down to 25 and 26 area. So I think that they'll be contesting after the first phase and a good cross-country jumpers. They can roll the odd pole in the show jumping, so that would be the area to watch out for. But definitely think that they're going to put their hat in the ring for France.
It's interesting, actually, because I thought this combination might go to Pretoni for the World Championships for France. And I think Maxime might feel a little bit like, okay, didn't go, so I'm going to go and prove it now. We've got a home Europeans next year. We've got a home Olympics in 2024. So I'm going to go and really lay down my marker here. And if he does that, I think it'll take the pressure off him a little bit next spring as well, because obviously you've got, if you come off the back of a very solid long format result at the end of the year, you can kind of say, okay, well, do you need me to run another long format, or can I pick and choose? Whereas if you're chasing a big long format result at the start of the year, you become a little bit more that shapes what you're doing thing.
Yeah.
I am going to I'm going to talk about the Americans, actually, because they have some really, really nice horses. And I actually think the Americans, they're obviously off that Team Silver in Pretoni. James Alliston Nemesis, who is actually riding for with the American flag for the first time on international soil, because he has lived over in the US for years, formerly British, but now competes for America, which is very exciting for them. Liz Halliday Sharp, Mixed Master C. Mixed Master C and Liz, new combination, was a really, really exciting one as well. And I think one she'll be very much looking forward to potential team appearances in the future, because they did 2 internationals, or their first 3 internationals, I think they won them all. And then they're coming here for their first 4-star long format together. But Liz, massively experienced. We actually had her on the show last week, so go and have a listen to it and you can hear all about her thoughts going into Boekelo, and her thoughts on Mixed Master C as well. Very, very much one to look out for. That was an Equiloom special, listeners, so go and check that one out. But Mixed Master C absolutely has all the ingredients, only a 10-year-old, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they go. They're formerly ridden by Maya Black, but have had lots of experience at the 4-star level. So looking forward to that. And they won the Nations Cup in Bromont a little bit earlier on this year as well. So Liz Halliday-Sharp is one of their sort of big campaigners. The other one has got to be the absolute, I was going to say the man, the myth, the legend. I mean, that's one way to introduce Boyd Martin, isn't it? But Boyd Martin has Federman B. And this is a really, really lovely horse. They had some great results in the, I think they won the Bruce's Fields Aiken showcase a little bit earlier on this year. He is a very, very talented horse. Won the 4-star long format triumph by finishing on a dressage score of 29. So there's a number of horses in the field actually that have won at the 4-star long level already coming back to Boekelo, but was a new ride for Boyd last season, was formerly campaigned by Annie Goodwin, who unfortunately really sadly passed away back in last year, and Boyd's taken on the ride. And there's always this real sort of feeling of legacy around the horse, and he's owned now by the Annie Goodwin syndicate, and I know they get a huge amount of pleasure from watching him be competed, but also it just is that little bit extra special because Boyd was a real influence in Annie and Federman B. Bruno, as he's known at home, their sort of start of their career. So that's a really nice story for the US, in so much as we're getting to see them come over here to Boekelo and get the chance to appreciate the horse ourselves over on European soil. So yeah, Boyd Martin, Federman B, and then the other two US riders, Alyssa Phillips Oscar and Catherine Coleman and Monbeg Senna. So really, I think the US are very strong.
It's exciting for the US now, isn't it?
Yeah, because these are all kind of horses that actually could be knocking on the door for selection. They've obviously coming over for the Nations Cup. They get some funding to come over for Boekelo. So we usually see a few US combinations coming over. But these are really, really smart horses. So yeah, lots to look forward to. I've got one that I really want to throw in there for Australia, and that is Sam Lyle's BF Velour, who have done so many cool things over in Australia, and a little bit of an unknown quantity. I waited with bated breath to see them come down the centre line at Blenheim, and I was waiting, and they didn't come. But they've won loads in Australia, and so I think it'll be really nice to see how their form transpires over here.
Yeah, definitely. The others I want to talk about are the team who came third at Petone. Of course, we're going over to the prices. They've come out in full force, actually. Janelle's got 2 horses. She's got Kilbunny Andy and Fairy Magnifico. And Tim's here with Happy Boy. Happy Boy, I think, would be one to watch, definitely. They've had some good placings this year. They were 6th at Heredipan and 6th at Mill Street. Mill Street in the 4-star long. Experienced combinations, so I think that they stand a good chance. And actually Dan Jocelyn's there with Blackthorn Cruise. They completed Burley back in 2019. Another one who's a very experienced combination. They've been out this year at Bergam. They were just outside the top 20, so I think that actually New Zealand have quite a few strong riders as well.
Happy Boy's a fascinating one. He's a former Le Lion d'Angers young horse world champion, 7-year-old world champion, won in 2019, kind of came from nowhere and took the top spot there. Missed a good bit of 2020, just had one international run, but actually won the 3-star long in Heredipan, and then was 2nd in the Nations Cup last year there. So I really like Happy Boy. I think that's a really, really good shout, Rosie.
He's a very good show jumper as well.
You need to be a good show jumper at Booklet. Okay, last chance. Anybody else you want to mention before we talk about podiums? And listeners, we've got some sneaky little news that we might need your help with.
I think I'm ready for podiums.
Okay, go on then. Give me your podium.
Okay, I think that Laura Collett and De Capo are going to win. I think second place, I'd love it to be Tom McEwen and JL Dublin.
Okay.
And third, I'm going to say is Swirly Temptress and Giovanni Ugolotti.
Flying the Italian flag.
Yes, forever.
Do you have a dark horse, Rosie?
Ooh, my dark horse. I think my dark horse is going to be. I don't think you can have Isolot DHI as a dark horse, really, can we?
Rosie, absolutely not. No.
Oh, I thought I'd push my luck there. No, I think I'm going to go with Bling and Laura Collett.
Okay, that's a good shout. I mean, yeah, a bit of a stretch for dark horse, but okay, we'll let you have them. I am actually going to. I'm going to say, is a lot DHI Roscan to win. Second is going to be. Oh God, I get the podium fear. I actually get the podium fear, listeners. This is terrible. Is Lot DHI was counted to win. Second, Maxime Levio, Appy Delibert. And third, I'm going to say is going to be Tim Price and Happy Boy. And then fourth and fifth is going to be Jail Dublin and a cafe. Just putting that out there. Anyway, it's going to be brilliant. Looking forward to Bookelo, and we will be back next week, listeners, for you with a sneaky little review show to kind of review how the last Nations Cup of the season, both those things went. Rosie, who wins the Nations Cup?
I'm going to say the Brits.
Okay. I am going to say, I think it's hard to look past the Brits, but I think the Americans are going to go really, really well. I have just got one actually really interesting one to watch that we haven't mentioned, and that is a new ride for Tim Lips. The Netherlands have been a little bit quieter. They only sent individuals to the World Championships in Protoni. We didn't see them send a team to Tokyo either. Tim Lips, who has sort of long been their flagship rider as such for a good number of years, actually has a new ride for him in Wickrow Quibus, who we don't really know a huge amount about with Tim because they've only had one international run together, but the horse has been experienced and actually went to Boekelo last year with Laura Bergman's Hugeveen. So horse has been to the venue before. New ride for Tim. Could well watch this space. Okay. So there you have it, listeners. The Bookelo preview show. We will be back next week with a sneaky little review show for you as well. Now, before we go, we have got something actually that we could do with you guys at home helping us with. So we want to make the show as good as it can possibly be. We're always looking to improve it. We're always looking basically to deliver what you guys want to hear, because ultimately without you guys listening to the show at home, we don't get anybody downloading the podcast. Brands aren't going to get involved. It's very much an area that we have been very open and transparent about over the last sort of couple of years, that, you know, we want to make sure that the product that we create is as good as it can possibly be, is as varied as it can be, and is really delivering what you want to listen to. And as part of that, we have created a short survey that we would love it if you would just take 5 minutes out of your day, basically, to tell us what you think. So say what you enjoy, say things that you're not so keen on, things you might like to see in the future. And really, Rosie, we just want to deliver what the listeners want to hear, and hopefully people are going to get involved and tell us.
Yeah, I hope everybody does, because it's exactly that. We want to provide the best listener experience that we can. So we're all up for improving and changing. So please let us know what you like, what you don't like. And if you do like something, it's always nice to hear that we might be on the right track.
So basically, as Rosie says, we want to give you the best listener experience we possibly can. And it will only take 5 minutes. It is all anonymous, but if you would like to be entered into a prize draw to win a Eventing Podcast jacket, then there is somewhere that you can pop your email in there as well. And anybody who would like to be in the mix, we will put in a prize draw for giving away a jacket. But ultimately, it's just to help us make the podcast as good as it can possibly be as we head into the end of this year and going into 2023. So yeah, any help you can give us, much appreciated. It will take 5 minutes of your time, but it could make all the difference. So yeah, please get involved. Please tell us what you think, and we will look forward to hearing from you all. Rosie, thank you. It's been a pleasure as always, and lots to look forward to over the next few weeks still.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Listeners, we will be back very soon on the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast. Stay tuned, because there is lots more coming your way, including in the Inside Maryland series. We've obviously building up to the final 2 5-stars of 2022 with Poe at the end of the month as well. We've got special interviews. The Hold Box will be back with another Red Mill special as well. So look, lots to look forward to. Hit the subscribe button if you don't already. And as I say, if you could just spare 5 minutes to complete the survey, we will link it in this podcast in the show notes. We would be massively, massively grateful. So thank you. We'll be back soon with more.